Some cities in the Bible were once dismissed by skeptics as pure legend until archaeologists dug them up. Others are still missing entirely, with scholars actively debating where they once stood. Today we're covering several of the most significant lost cities of the Bible, which ones archaeology has confirmed beyond doubt, and which ones remain a genuine mystery. If deep dives into biblical archaeology interest you, hit subscribe now, because this is one of the most fascinating intersections between scripture and hard physical evidence. Let's start with a city that was once considered pure myth, Jericho. The book of Joshua describes its walls collapsing after the Israelites marched around the city for 7 days. For a long time, some scholars doubted a city called Jericho ever existed as described. Then excavations at Tel Sultan, beginning in the early 20th century and expanded by archaeologist Kathleen Kenyon in the 1950s, uncovered the remains of an ancient walled settlement, one of the oldest continuously inhabited sites ever discovered, with layers of destruction that some researchers connect to the biblical account, though the exact dating remains debated among scholars. The second confirmed city is Nineveh, the great capital of Assyria and the destination of Jonah's famous, reluctant mission. For centuries, Nineveh existed only in scripture and a handful of ancient references, leading some to assume it was exaggerated or invented. That changed in the mid-1800s, when archaeologists uncovered massive mounds near modern-day Mosul, Iraq, revealing the remains of Nineveh's palaces, libraries, and defensive walls, confirming it as one of the largest and most powerful cities of the ancient world, exactly as the Bible describes it. The third confirmed city is Babylon itself, the empire that conquered Judah and carried its people into exile. Babylon's ruins were never fully lost to history the way some other cities were, but extensive excavations near Hilla, Iraq, uncovered the Ishtar Gate, temple foundations, and administrative records that align closely with the biblical narrative surrounding the exile and figures like Nebuchadnezzar. Before we go further, drop a comment below. Which of these 3 cities surprised you most: Jericho, Nineveh, or Babylon? I want to know which one you didn't realize had this much archaeological backing. The fourth confirmed city is Ur of the Chaldeans, described in Genesis as the hometown of Abraham before his family relocated to Haran. British archaeologist Leonard Woolley excavated the site extensively in the 1920s, uncovering a sophisticated Sumerian city complete with a massive ziggurat, royal tombs, and evidence of advanced urban planning, confirming that Abraham's described origins were rooted in a genuinely major city of the ancient world, not a minor or invented backdrop. The fifth confirmed location is Capernaum, the town on the Sea of Galilee that served as a base for much of Jesus' ministry. Archaeologists have identified the remains of an ancient synagogue and, notably, a house believed by many scholars to be the home of the Apostle Peter, based on centuries of continuous Christian veneration at the site combined with archaeological layers showing it was treated as a place of gathering and worship from a very early period. If this kind of confirmed versus mystery breakdown is useful to you, smash the like button, because now we get into the cities that remain genuinely unresolved. The most famous unresolved location is Sodom, along with its neighboring city Gomorrah, described in Genesis as destroyed by fire and sulfur for their wickedness. Their exact location has never been confirmed with certainty. 2 leading candidate sites are debated among archaeologists: Bab el-Hra, near the southern end of the Dead Sea, and more recently, Tal el-Hammam, north of the Dead Sea, where some researchers have proposed evidence of a sudden, catastrophic destruction event. Both sites remain genuinely contested, and no consensus has been reached on which, if either, corresponds to the biblical Sodom. Another debated site is Ai, a city mentioned in the book of Joshua as conquered shortly after Jericho. Multiple locations have been proposed by different archaeological teams, and none has produced a fully satisfying match to the biblical timeline and description, making Ai one of the more persistent puzzles in biblical archaeology. A third genuinely mysterious location is the exact site of the biblical Ophir, described in the Old Testament as a distant source of gold for Solomon's temple. Scripture never specifies precisely where Ophir was, and proposed locations range from the Arabian Peninsula to East Africa to India, with no definitive archaeological evidence settling the question. So here's the pattern worth noticing across all of this. Several cities once assumed to be legendary: Jericho, Nineveh, Babylon, Capernaum have been confirmed through direct archaeological excavation, often producing evidence that lines up remarkably well with the biblical description. At the same time, other locations remain genuinely uncertain, and honest scholarship acknowledges that uncertainty rather than forcing premature conclusions onto incomplete evidence. That's really the healthiest way to hold this topic. Archaeology has repeatedly vindicated details in Scripture that skeptics once dismissed as invention, while other questions remain open, waiting for further discovery. Both of those realities can be true at the same time, and neither one should be flattened into an oversimplified narrative in either direction. If today's video gave you a clearer picture of what archaeology has and hasn't confirmed about these biblical locations, subscribe and turn on notifications for more deep dives like this one. And drop a comment with the word "unearthed" below if this reminded you how often physical evidence has caught up with what Scripture already said.